Have you ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere shift simply because one person was quietly standing there? Not loud, not flashy, not trying to impress anyone, yet everyone unconsciously noticed. They do not need to say much, do not need to prove anything, yet their presence makes others feel calm and secure. That is not attraction from appearance or communication skills. It is quiet magnetism, what Stoic philosophers call inner strength. In this video, we will explore 6 Stoic habits that create natural magnetism, helping you become compelling not because you try, but because you are truly steady and powerful within. Discover how discipline, calm focus, and unwavering values shape a presence that speaks before you do and lingers long after you leave the room, and builds respect without demanding attention from anyone around you every single day. Do you know why some people can just sit there and still make others want to open up? Not because they speak beautifully, not because they are smarter, but because when you talk with them, you feel truly heard, not interrupted, not judged, not brushed aside. In a world where everyone wants attention, the person who can listen becomes rare, and that rarity creates a quiet, powerful pull. You do not treat their story as a chance to show your knowledge. You do not scan for flaws. You stay curious, calm, and kind. That calm is contagious. It tells the other person, without words, that they matter. And when you practice this daily, you also become more precise with your own speech. Fewer promises, fewer excuses, more truth in the moments that count. Most of us do not really listen. We simply wait for our turn to talk. While someone is sharing, our mind is already busy preparing a reply, a rebuttal, or our own story. We hear words, but we miss the heart behind them. We nod, but we are not present. But a person with Stoic inner strength is different. They know listening is not an act of the ears. It is the presence of the mind. It is patience. It is respect. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen more than we speak." That is not only communication advice, it is a rule for living. When you truly listen, you set your ego down. You do not try to prove you are right. You do not try to win. You do not try to impress. You are simply there, fully focused, fully awake. You notice tone, pose, and what is not said. You ask one clear question instead of giving 10 opinions. You let the other person finish, even when you already know what you want to say. And something surprising happens. The other person starts to feel safe. They slow down. They breathe. They open more. They trust you without needing a clear reason. Because deep inside, what people crave most is not praise, not solutions, but understanding. A real listener does not need to talk much, yet their words carry weight, because before they speak, they understand. Before they respond, they feel. Their silence is not emptiness. It is space where another person can exist completely. It is room for doubt and messy truth, and in a noisy society, The one who creates that space becomes intensely magnetic. But true listening requires discipline. It asks you to hold back your instant reaction. When someone criticizes you, instead of defending, pause and listen. Hear the message before you fight the tone. Decide what is useful and let the rest pass. When someone shares sorrow, instead of giving advice, stay with them through your presence. Do not rush them to be positive. Just be steady. Look into their eyes. Put the phone down. Let silence do its work. That is the strength of self-control, the foundation of Stoicism. And do not only listen to others, start listening to yourself. Each day, take a few minutes to sit still. No music, no social media, no distractions. Listen to your thoughts without judging them. Notice what keeps repeating. Notice what you keep avoiding. When you understand your fears and desires, you will empathize with others more easily. A quiet inner life builds steady presence, and that presence is a natural field that draws people in. So from today, practice one simple but strong thing. In the next conversation, do not try to impress. Do not search for the perfect answer. Do not perform. Just listen deeply, fully, sincerely. Become the person who makes others feel seen and respected when they speak with you. Try it today. Watch what changes. You will realize when you stop trying to shine and start truly listening. You do not only become more attractive, you become a place of peace that others want to come to. Have you ever wondered why in the middle of a chaotic situation, some people become louder yet fade away, while others grow quieter yet stand out more? It is not because they are stronger. It is because they are calmer. And in a world full of impulsive reactions, calmness becomes a rare form of power. In the first habit, we talked about truly listening, but you cannot listen deeply if there is noise inside you. You cannot create safety for others if your own mind is shaking. So the root of quiet magnetism is not only in how you interact, but in the inner state you carry into every meeting. A person with inner peace walks into a room without the anxiety of needing recognition, without the pressure of having to perform. They do not fight for speaking time. They do not need to react immediately. They observe. They reflect. They choose response over reflex. And that intentional slowing down creates a distinct presence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That is the foundation of Stoic philosophy. The world may be noisy. Others may criticize. Plans may collapse. But if you control your response, you keep your center. And the one who holds their center in chaos radiates a unique force steadiness. Imagine your mind as the surface of water. When the surface ripples, every image becomes distorted. When the water is still, everything becomes clear. Inner peace is not avoiding storms, but learning not to let storms control you. When someone says something that triggers you, instead of reacting instantly, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act calmly. If not, let it go. That is not weakness. that is self-mastery. A peaceful person is not someone without emotion. They simply do not let emotion dictate behavior. They understand that everything is temporary. Criticism, success, failure. So they are not overly excited when celebrated, nor do they collapse when misunderstood. And that stability makes others feel safe. When you are at peace, you do not need many words to prove your worth. Your presence is enough. This also prepares you for the next habit, speaking with intention. Because only when your mind is quiet do your words carry weight. Someone constantly pulled by emotion speaks to vent, to compete. But a peaceful person speaks to create value, to cultivate inner peace. You must practice daily. Spend time alone without constant stimulation from your phone or social media. Observe your thoughts without judgment. When stress appears, do not run. Face it and ask, what am I truly afraid of? Naming the emotion is the first step to mastering it. So, starting today, try one thing. In the next situation that irritates you, do not react immediately. Create a conscious pause, one deep breath, one clear question, and choose a calm response. Repeat this enough times, and you will notice you are no longer carried away like before. When you maintain peace, you do not only listen better, you show up stronger. And when you show up with a steady mind, every word you speak afterward carries natural weight. That is when magnetism is no longer something you try to create, but something that flows naturally from who you are. Have you ever heard someone speak and the entire room suddenly falls silent? Not because they were loud, not because they threatened or dominated, but because every word they released carried weight. When they speak, others listen. When they are silent, others wait. That is the power of speaking with purpose, a quiet form of authority that Stoics train for their entire lives. After you learn to listen deeply and cultivate inner calm, your words begin to change. Because speech reflects your inner state. A chaotic mind produces rushed language. An insecure ego speaks to prove itself. But a steady inner core speaks only when truly necessary and when it does. It speaks to build, not to perform. Epictetus once taught, either be silent or say something better than silence. This sentence is simple yet heavy with meaning. It forces you to ask before every statement, is this necessary? Is this true? Is this kind? If not, your silence already holds value. In the modern world, everyone wants to express an opinion. Everyone wants to be heard. But the person with real presence is not the one who talks the most. It is the one who makes others think after speaking. They do not jump into every debate. They do not react instantly when provoked. They observe, they reflect, and they choose the right moment. Speaking with purpose does not mean being cold or quiet. It means you are aware of the strength of words. A sentence spoken at the right time can soothe the heart. A sincere encouragement can transform someone's entire day. But a careless remark can destroy trust built over many years. A Stoic understands this clearly. So they treat speech as a tool that must be handled with care. More importantly, speaking with purpose begins with alignment between words and actions. If you talk about calmness but lose your temper easily, your words lose weight. If you speak about integrity but act inconsistently, others will sense the gap. True presence appears when what you say reflects who you choose to be every single day. And do not forget how you speak to yourself matters just as much. If you constantly criticize, compare, and deny your own worth, you create an inner dialogue filled with harm. A person with inner strength learns to speak to themselves with discipline but not cruelty. They correct mistakes without humiliation. They admit flaws without losing self-respect. When you speak to yourself with respect, you naturally speak to the world with calm confidence. Start practicing today. Before you speak in a meeting, before you respond to a negative comment, before you send a message in anger, pause for a few seconds. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I speaking to create value or just to release emotion? That brief pause can completely transform the quality of your words. Challenge yourself in the next 24 hours. Speak less than usual. But whenever you speak, do so with clarity and intention. You will notice something unusual. People begin to pay closer attention, not because you are louder, but because you carry weight. When you listen deeply, you understand clearly. When you are calm, you are not rushed. And when you speak with purpose, your words become a reflection of inner strength. That is when you no longer chase attention. Attention begins to find you. You will know how strong a person is not when they succeed, but when everything falls apart, when they are misunderstood, when they fail, when they lose what they once trusted most. Because adversity does not destroy a person, it reveals the real person they truly are, deep inside their soul completely. In the previous habit, we talked about speaking with purpose. But think about it. Words only carry real weight when they are proven by action in adversity. Anyone can talk about calm when things are smooth. Anyone can talk about strength when they have never lost. But when pressure comes, when criticism surrounds you, when every door seems to close, how do you respond? That is where true magnetism is born. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle on the path is the path." A Stoic does not see difficulty as the enemy. They see it as a test to refine themselves. Just as steel must pass through fire to become sharp, a person must walk through trials to form character. And what draws others to you is not that you never fell, but how you rise. Courage does not mean you feel no pain. Courage means you feel pain and still move forward. It means being hurt without becoming bitter. It means failing without losing your sense of worth. A person with inner strength does not complain for long. They do not blame. They ask a different question. What is this teaching me? That question transforms them from a victim into a learner. And when you face adversity with a learning mindset, you radiate a rare energy maturity. Others may not know what you have been through, but they will feel the depth in your eyes, the calm in your voice, and the steadiness in your actions. Adversity is also the place where integrity is tested, something we will explore in the next habit. Because when things are easy, living by your values is not that hard. But when you are pressured to compromise, to change for acceptance, to stay silent for safety, what do you choose? Courage is not only enduring hardship, but holding your principles in the storm. There is a Stoic concept called Amor Fati. Love your fate, not just accept it, but embrace everything that happens as a necessary part of the journey. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, how can I grow from this? You shift from fighting reality to working with it. And that is when circumstances no longer control you. Remember, a truly strong person does not need to declare their strength. They do not display their endurance. They simply keep moving forward quietly. And that quiet strength creates deep attraction. Others look at you and see hope, that if you can walk through the storm and still keep a warm heart, they can too. So if you are in a difficult season, do not rush to see it as the end. See it as refinement. Ask yourself today, how will I respond so that one day I can be proud of myself? And if you choose to face it instead of avoid it, to learn instead of complain, comment one short sentence below. I choose strength. It is not just a comment. It is a commitment to yourself that no matter what adversity comes, you will not lose your character. Have you ever realized this? The more you try to please everyone, the more you lose yourself. The more you try to be liked, the more invisible you become. And the paradox is this: when you stop seeking approval, you begin to earn respect. That is the power of integrity, the foundation of lasting attraction. After talking about courage in adversity, this is where the real test appears. Because adversity does not only test your endurance, it tests your values. Under pressure, do you hold your principles? When misunderstood, do you twist the truth to protect your image? When given the chance to be liked, are you willing to compromise what you believe is right? Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, if it is right, do it. If it is true, say it. The rest does not matter. The Stoics understood that other people's opinions always change. Today they praise you. Tomorrow they may criticize you. If your self-worth depends on something that fragile, you will always feel unstable. Integrity means living aligned with your values, even when no one applauds. It means saying no when something violates your conscience, even if others call you difficult. It means being honest even when the truth puts you at a disadvantage. It is not the easy road, but it is the road that creates deep respect. People who live for approval constantly reshape themselves to fit other people's expectations. They adjust their views to match the crowd. They hide their real thoughts to avoid conflict. Over time, they no longer know who they truly are. And when you are not clear with yourself, others cannot trust you either. In contrast, a person with integrity carries a clear consistency. You know where they stand. You know how they will respond. Not because they are rigid, but because they have a foundation. That consistency creates a sense of safety, and safety creates attraction. Because human beings are drawn to what feels steady in a world that never stops changing. Seneca once wrote, "No one can live happily if they depend on the opinions of others. When you stop chasing validation, you begin to find peace. You no longer worry about what people think of every small action. You no longer perform. You simply live true. The interesting thing is this: integrity does not make you cold. It makes you trustworthy. Others may not agree with you, but they know you are not fake. They know you are not two-faced. They know that if you say something, you will do it. And in a world where trust grows rarer every day, reliability becomes a form of power. There may be moments when you feel alone for choosing to live honestly. You may lose a few relationships when you stop playing the role of people-pleaser. But remember this: temporary loneliness is better than permanently losing yourself. The ones who walk away because you stand by your values were never truly meant to stay. Ask yourself today, are you living by your values or by other people's expectations? Are you acting on what you believe is right or on the need to be approved? Real attraction does not come from being liked by everyone. It comes from being respected even by those who disagree with you. And when you stand firm on the foundation of your integrity, you do not need to chase the spotlight. Your steadiness alone is enough to shine. Do you know what is quietly exhausting you the most? Not failure, not lack of opportunity. It is the pressure to be perfect, to say everything right, to do everything right, to never make mistakes. And here is the paradox: the more you try to be perfect, the more tense, distant, and doubtful you become toward yourself. Meanwhile, the truly magnetic person is not someone who never falls, but someone who never stops growing. After speaking about integrity, we reach a deeper layer. You live aligned with your values. Yet you also accept that you are still a work in progress. A Stoic does not chase perfection. They chase progress. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he was simply a human being learning how to become better. Not flawless, but constantly improving. Perfection is an illusion. It makes you afraid to try, afraid to speak, afraid to begin. Because if you are not certain, you will do it well. You would rather avoid it than risk failing. Growth is different. Growth allows mistakes. It allows learning. It allows you to move slowly without stopping. And that spirit creates a rare kind of energy authenticity. Have you noticed? People who try to appear perfect often create distance. But those who admit, "I am still learning," make others feel close. Because every one of us is on a personal journey. When you dare to honor your process, including the flaws and scars, you give others permission to do the same. A person focused on growth does not compare themselves to others each day. They compare themselves to who they were yesterday. They do not ask, "Am I perfect yet?" They ask, "Am I a little better today? A little more disciplined? A little calmer?" Those small steps, repeated daily, create profound transformation. In Stoic philosophy, failure is not the end. It is data. It is feedback. It is a chance to adjust. If you fall, rise again, not with shame, but with curiosity. What can I learn from this? When you see mistakes as lessons instead of proof of inadequacy, you free yourself from fear. And here is what truly matters. A growing person radiates magnetism because they are alive. They do not trap themselves inside a fixed image. They are flexible. They are open. They are not imprisoned by an ego that must always be right. They are willing to change when they realize they are wrong. That humility does not shrink them. It expands them. Imagine walking into a room without the need to impress, without the need to be perfect, simply committed to being a better version of yourself. You would speak more naturally. You would smile more freely. You would try new things without fearing judgmental eyes. And that ease becomes a powerful field of attraction. Starting today, change the question you ask yourself each night. Do not ask, was I good enough today? Ask, where did I grow today? Write down one small thing you did better than yesterday. A calmer reaction, a more principled decision, one brave attempt despite fear. Lasting magnetism does not belong to those who never err. It belongs to those who never stop moving forward. When you choose growth over perfection, you release yourself from the pressure to prove. And when you stop trying to appear perfect in the eyes of others, you begin to become truly compelling because you are living, learning, and rising every single day. Finally, remember this. Real attraction does not come from trying to shine, but from mastering yourself. When you know how to listen, stay calm, speak with purpose, stand firm in adversity, live with integrity, and keep growing, you do not need to chase attention. Attention will find you. If you are ready to choose this path, leave a brief comment below the video. I choose inner strength. It is not just a phrase. It is a declaration of the person you are deciding to become. Let that choice define your standards, shape your actions, and guide every step you take from this moment forward, starting today, without excuses or hesitation.